Today I'm going to be reviewing the Jesus Bible, and this is by Zondervan, and I have the English Standard Version, and mine is I don't know what you call it, the artist cover, I think it is. But anyway, I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. So before we grab the Bible, let's look at the features here. So we have an introduction by Louis Giglio. We have 66 book introductions that highlight the story of Jesus in every book. We have 7 essays on the grand narrative of Scripture, and those are by Louis Giglio, Max Lucado, John Piper, Ravi Zacharias, and Randy Alcorn. There are over 300 full-page articles and nearly 700 sidebar articles that reveal Jesus throughout all of Scripture. This is in the ESV, English Standard Version. The cover art is by Britt Bass. We have room for notes and journaling throughout. We have a concordance, 2 ribbon markers, and 8.7 font size. Okay, so here you can see why I was saying it was like the artist series. There's 2 different covers like this that are slightly different. This is the ESV, and there's also an NIV version of this as well. And there's 2 that are the artist, and that's kind of like this paint. Looks like somebody painted on it. Those are the artist editions. They call this multicolor teal leather soft, I think, because most of it's kind of a greenish teal color. But I kind of like these drops of red here, because it almost reminded me of like drops of blood, like the blood of Christ. So I thought that was kind of cool. You can see it's a pretty thick Bible. That's what the spine looks like here. And then the back cover, like the pink here. I think we could have added a little more pink, but it's just me. I'll let that go. We have gold page gilding here. We're going to have a sewn binding. We have 2 ribbon markers in like a green, blue-ish colors here. And then we have a paste down liner. This is like a pale green color. I don't know if my camera is picking up the color real well, so I apologize if it's not, but it's kind of like a pale green color. It's hard for me to tell sometimes how my camera's doing here. Alright, so we have the Jesus Bible, and I picked this one up because I wanted to have a Bible that highlights Jesus in every book. I just thought that was a really neat idea, and I've done some studies that, you know, talk about how Jesus is relevant in every book and how the Bible is one story. For example, I did a Bible study called Seamless by Angie Smith, and that was kind of the theme of that, how the Bible's just one big story. And Jesus is the theme here. So I just thought that would be really neat. I've had a couple of the Jesus Bible journals, and I had a copy of this Bible way back when in NIV, like I say way back when, it was probably like 2 years ago. But I gifted that one away just because I do that sometimes because I get a lot of Bibles through reviewing. And I hadn't really gone through it as much because at the time I had some other Bibles that I was focusing my time in. So that's why I picked this one up, and I decided I'm going to study through this one a little more in depth. Okay, so at the beginning here we have a table of contents. We have a preface. Move this in for you a little bit. We have contributors. An article here called Welcome to the Story of God by Louis Giglio. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. Sorry if I'm not. I'm pronouncing it the way it looks, so hopefully that's good. Alright, then we get into the Old Testament. One thing I really like about this Bible is at the beginning of every book, it gives, it says Jesus, and it gives some kind of role that he plays in that book. So for Genesis, it's Jesus, our glorious creator. I love that. So I think I might go through some of my other Bibles, and for every book, just kind of write in that role for Jesus, just because I think that's really neat. The book introductions are in a nice large font here. It talks about like the date. There's like a timeline here. So for creation, Abram goes to Canaan. Jacob and his family go to Egypt. So there's like a little timeline for each book. And then you get a page or two book introduction, and then a theme or key verse. And then we get into the Bible itself here. So you can see our biblical text is in a single column format, and then we have little sidebar articles at the side, and they're all about Jesus and how Jesus ties into that particular book. My only complaint, I don't know if I'd really call it a complaint, but the font's a little small for the biblical text. It's 8.7. I don't like to go, like 8 is like the lowest I'll go with font. I don't have a lot of trouble with my eyes yet, but I do wear glasses, and I anticipate as I get older, it is going to be a bit more of a struggle for me to read the smaller font. So for now, this is okay. I prefer a 9 or a 10 at least for my Bibles, but it's okay. The articles, we have some full-page articles as well. So for this one, Jesus created everything and holds it all together. So you can see these are in a nice larger font. So the articles are nice and easy to read. It's just the biblical text that's a little smaller. So that's my only little complaint there, if you want to call it that. So there's a lot of, you see almost every page there's a little sidebar articles, so that's nice. There are some without if you wanted to take your own notes, but definitely not every page. So if you're a note taker and you want to take notes on like every single, page and extensive notes, you may have to use a journal or a notebook for that. And if you look back in my other reviews, I do have reviews of the Jesus Bible journals, a couple of those as well. So that would be an option too. So here is another big article. This is Beginnings. Jesus is the supreme display of the glory of God, and that's by John Piper. So that's one of those big essays, I think. I believe we said 7 of those throughout. So this is continued here, so that's 5 pages. Okay, and then this is just a little timeline of the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelation. My pages are still sticking a little bit yet, because I haven't gone through all of them quite yet. I just got this a couple days or so ago. Skip ahead a little bit here. So you see there are some pages where you don't have anything in the margins, and on those pages you could definitely do some Bible journaling, some note taking. You're just not going to have that option for every page, because there's a lot of these helpful sidebar articles. There's over, I think they said about 700 of those, so quite a few. I really do like the layout. I like the single column layout. This is a fairly thick Bible, so I understand why they did make the font the size they did, because it would be like tremendously huge if they didn't. It's already fairly thick. I believe the font in the NIV is slightly bigger. I think it's like a 9, maybe 9.5 in the NIV. So if you need a larger font, maybe check that out, getting it in that version. So here for Ruth, we have Jesus, our Redeemer. That's my favorite, I think, aspect of this Bible, is that every book has that role for Jesus in the beginning. I just think that's really neat. Bring it in here so you can see a little better. There we go. We have God among his people. Here's an article. The bread of life. So just really love how this Bible connects everything to Jesus. For Psalms, it says, Jesus, our praiseworthy King. So some of these books, there is a lot of room for note-taking. Just kind of depends where you're at in the Bible. Okay, so here, now we're in the New Testament. This is a black letter text. There's Acts, Jesus, our continued mission. pretty quickly here towards the end. So a lot of content, a lot of articles in here. So this is one that's going to take a while to go through, and that's okay. I like that. For 1 John, we have Jesus, our word of life and love. And if you like to journal, like art journal, these pages would be nice to do something on as well. And there's a couple blank ones throughout too, which you could use. We're on Revelation here. It's another one of those 7 articles. This one's called Forever, Made for a Different Place, and that's by Randy Alcorn. Okay, and as we get to the end of Revelation here, let me just skip to that page. Okay, so at the end, we're going to have a concordance. We have abbreviations for books of the Bible. And then we have the traditional concordance. Okay, so we'll skip to the end of that. Then we have some lined paper for notes. And then we're going to get to the end of the Bible. So if you were looking for a Bible that ties in Jesus to every book, as he should be, and presents the Bible as one big story with Jesus as the main character, you would want to pick up the Jesus Bible. It comes in ESV and NIV and a couple different covers. This is ESV with the artist edition cover. And I'm really excited to start digging into these articles and continuing to learn more about how Jesus ties into each book of the Bible.